I'm with Rod Benson. And Rod, this airplane is pretty recognizable in the Marion area. You've been to our past flying cruise in.
That's right.
And you yourself have some Marion ties. Tell us a little bit about yourself. And I know you're down at Mount Comfort, up here at Huntington. How long did it take you to fly over here to Huntington?
I think it took me about 18 minutes to get up here from Indy.
So gear up, gear down.
Close to that.
You're down in Indianapolis now and interested in these airplanes. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing and about your airplane.
Well, I've got a history of military history in my background. I spent 8 years in the Air Force as a fighter pilot and spent a year in Vietnam. I didn't fly fighters over there. I flew prop airplanes, the 01, which is a Army liaison type airplane that's a spotter airplane. I had fighter pilots stationed in those airplanes as well as in the fighters. And we kind of had a unique mission in that we were stationed in Thailand and flew over Laos into North Vietnam with that light plane. And a lot of the missions we flew were at night, and we had T-28s that would fly on our wing. Go out there hunting the trucks as they came down from North Vietnam and Nam down to along the Ho Chi Minh Trail. And so I had a kind of a love affair, I guess you'd say, with the T-28. I liked it. It's a good flying airplane. And so after being out of the service and military for about 20 or 25 years, I looked around and found one and bought this about 2.5 years ago.
Well, it's a beautiful airplane. Can you give us some of the performance figures on it?
Well, it's got a 1,425 horsepower engine, which makes lots of noise, and it uses lots of gas. Climbing out, usually it'll do about 120 gallons per hour as far as fuel usage. Once you get up in the air, it'll do about 60 to 55 to 60 on a cruise, on a cross country. So it's kind of expensive gas-wise to fly it, but it makes up for it in performance. It's fully acrobatic, does all the nice acro things, which I enjoy as a ex-military fighter pilot. And it probably will cruise around 230 knots, 240, something like that. Depends upon the altitude that you're at. It will go up to about 30,000 feet with an oxygen mask.
So, for instance, if you took off out of, say, Marion, you could fly nonstop to Lakeland?
That'd be close. Probably would fly. Normally, it's about a 3-hour. We'll fly about 3 hours, and so in this airplane, usually like to have about an hour's worth of fuel left because it does burn pretty fast. So we'll fly about a 2-hour mission, maybe about 550, 600 miles, and refuel.
So it wouldn't take you long to, say, jump down to Atlanta?
No, you could go there probably nonstop, no problem.
Well, it's a beautiful airplane, and we appreciate you sharing it with us. It was a wonderful thing. You brought it to the Marion Flying Cruise In, and I saw that you allowed some children to get up and take a look, and it's great to get young people interested in aviation, and there's no better airplane than this to show them. And there's a little history behind this airplane, and we appreciate guys like you preserving them and sharing them with us.
Yeah, it's always exciting. I think I enjoy air shows primarily because you meet the public and get a chance to show them about the airplane. This particular airplane is a Navy airplane. Now, I'm an Air Force jock, but the Navy has much prettier airplanes. They're bright orange. The ones that the Air Force flew were painted black or brown or gray because they were usually used in the war. These are trainers. The Navy used them as trainers. There's about 4 different models of the T-28. The Air Force used the A model. That was the earliest one and had a smaller engine in it. And you still see several of those around. In fact, there's one stationed at Mount Comfort. That's a Grand Champion airplane. That's an A model. This particular airplane is a B model. And then the Navy used the Bs and the Cs. The difference between a B model and a C model is basically the same airplane, but the C model has a tail hook on it because they use those to practice landing on carriers and taking off on carriers. So mine doesn't have a tail hook on, so that's one difference, as well as the performance are about the same for the B and C. And then the Air Force sold a lot of their A models and some of the early B models to France. And they converted the small engine A model into a big engine, and they called it a Fennec, French word. They just call it an F model is what we call it, which was a A model airplane with a great big engine on it. So it had good performance. And they usually would arm it with maybe a 50 caliber machine gun which sits under the pod under a wing, In fact, mine has places where you can attach bombs, the pylons for the bombs on this particular wing. Another model was the D model, and that was a model that was outfitted for selling to other countries, like the Laotians had them, the Thai people had them, the Thai Army, and the Vietnamese had them. So, and that's the airplanes that I flew with, along with, in Vietnam. And that one was a real heavy airplane, had a big engine on it, had injection seats, and it could usually had 1 or 2 machine guns on it, and 2 or 3 bomb pods too. So that's the kind that we flew with over the Ho Chi Minh Trail with, and had a great time.
Rod, when you're coming in for landing, what's your over the fence speed?
Well, normally about 100 miles an hour, 100 knots on final, and lands about 80 knots. So it's a very nice airplane.
It gets down in ground effect, it starts to slow down pretty good.
Yes, it will. It's kind of heavy airplane though, so you got to hold it off.
Well, we sure appreciate you sharing it with us and coming here to Huntington today and sharing it at Marion. And we thank you, Rod.
Sure. A lot of friends up in Marion.
Okay, well, now's a good time to say hello to them.
Well, hi to everybody up in Marion. Hope to see you this September maybe.
Okay, thank you.